What's up YouTube, this is Brian with 3 Duels. Today I'm going to come at you guys my Constellar deck profile. So the reason I decided to do this instead of Constellar Knights is because I think everyone's on Constellar Knights, and obviously the deck is really good. You know, turn skip with Ptolemaeus, things like that. But I feel like this list is kind of slept on. I think pure Constellars are still good. I still feel like it's viable with the right pilot and the right build. This is kind of like a rough draft build. I've tested it some against friends and it seems to be doing pretty good. And I really like it quite a bit. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. We're going to do things a little bit differently this time. I have all the cards IRL. So we're going to go ahead and do it on Dueling Book and record via OBS. And then I'm going to ask you guys to ignore the mess that is my office. I need to do some redecorating. My kid's got a giant box in here that I like to play in. So is what it is, but let's go ahead and get right into it. So to start off, we're playing 3 Ash, 3 Imperm for the hand traps. This will probably change over to Droll and Ogre because it's super heavy Samurai and Purely. But for right now, I feel like this is okay. I feel like this deck has like a decent cashier matchup because as long as they don't lock out like all of my monster zones, I can make a rank 4. I can still play. Having my graveyard banish isn't too big of a deal with this deck because you just don't really need it. It only really stops like Zombre plays and some Constellar Knight plays. That's not like too big of a deal. If you go against a Rise, if they Rise Heart Pass, I just make up Pleiades and bounce it back, so not too big of a deal. We're playing 3 Polix, so the idea behind this is we're playing 3 of a lot of the names because you really just want to make the new rank 4 as fast as possible, have a bunch of extenders, and Polix is part of that. So his effect gives you an additional normal summon, and that effect is a summoning condition. So even if he gets Impermed or Veilered, Chaliced, whatever, you still get the additional normal summon. They have to stop the summon for you to not get the additional normal summon. And we are playing 3 Kaus. Just that way we can make Pleiades. So this deck is pretty explosive, I think. You can make double, triple Pleiades, or you can do like double Pleiades Infinity with the right hand. And to get to that point, you have to open the Kaus to do like triple Pleiades turn 1. So that's why he's in here. He's also another name, which is good. Playing 3 Algidi for 2 reasons. For one, normal summon effect, special summon 1 from hand, really good. And also the fact that this effect triggers on normal summon. So you can banish it off the new XYZ to get as an extender, essentially. And then 3, Caduceus. This card is just really good. It searches Star Chart, searches Twinkle, searches Constellar Tellarknights. Pretty much like whatever piece, spell piece you need, you can get off of him. The reason we're playing Twinkle is because that makes Sheraton a 1-card XYZ. So you can normal summon Sheraton, search this guy, special him, get the Twinkle, and then make the new rank 4. So extender, search the spells, really good. We are playing 2 Zombre. This is probably the only monster in the list that I would consider cutting back to just 1. Because drawing Zombre by itself doesn't do anything. But in certain situations, Zombre is an extender. Especially like after you've made like a couple XYZs and like you go Ptolemaeus to detach to make an Infinity or another Pleiades. If you can get the Zombre out, you can banish, add to hand, normal summon again to make another XYZ, which is really good. And also for like mid to late game, Zombre for recursion to just keep playing is also pretty good. So that's why I played 2 of it, because that way, like if you use one in the opening combo off like a cracked hand, and you still have follow-up with it turns 2, 3, and 4, you know? And then we are playing the 1 Sheraton, so I was just describing a minute ago. Sheraton begins on 1-card XYZ because of Twinkle and Caduceus. The reason I'm not playing multiple copies of this is because I don't really want to draw Sheraton. I really just want to like banish it off the new XYZ to search a piece that I need. And again, while the 1-card rank 4 is pretty good, there are other things I would rather normal summon because you can't get as far off of just a Sheraton so you can off of like a better hand, which I know that kind of sounds counterintuitive, but that's why only 1 of it. And then 3 Lyrian, so this card's always considered a Constellar card. When a Constellar or a Tellarknight is normal summoned, you can special it from hand, and then when that card is summoned, you can search a Tellarknight spell. So I'm not playing any of the Aldrian, I think that's its name, mainly because I don't play any other Tellarknight names other than Lyrian. So I'm not playing any Altair, no Vega, no Deneb, none of that. This is just a pure Constellar list. And Alderan is only like really good if you're going for like the Del Toro's pop itself effect to special summon like an Altair, and then it can special summon itself back. So this is the only new name that I play other than the XYZ. And I am playing 3 Sakitama. This card's just really good. It's an extender, so all of our XYZs in the extra deck are generic. So this is 2 level 4 lights. This is 2 plus level 4 monsters. This is 2 or more level 4 monsters. You know, nothing has to be specific. So just the fact that it goes, oh, trigger in hand, normal summon it, is really good. And we are playing 3 Constellar Tellarknights. This card is just really good too. A Monster Reborn or a special from hand and a rank up is just insane. So it allows you to get in some neat plays in the last deck to keep playing, which is just pretty good support. And I am playing 1 Star Chart. So this is one of the older cards when Constellars first came out that no one really played. I feel like it's being slept on right now because I can draw 2 or 3 times a turn with this card. Because you just like make a Pleiades, draw a card, bounce it back, play it again, make another Constellar, XYZ, draw a card, and you can just keep bouncing it back with Pleiades because of Constellar Tellarknights. So really good card. I like it a lot. And it's searchable off Caduceus, which is why we only play 1 of it. And then the 1 Twinkle. Twinkle is like decent in this list, just because again, like the Sheraton makes it's a 1 card rank 4 that way, and also it allows you to make a Pleiades outside of using Constellar Tellarknights and Ptolemaeus. So you don't have to open Kaus, use Constellar Tellarknights and Ptolemaeus, which is kind of nice. But in instances where like you've already got Kaus and you don't really like open the Sheraton or whatever, or like you draw this card off of Star Chart, it kind of sucks. So like I play it because that way if I open the Sheraton I still can make a rank 4 if absolutely necessary, but kind of don't like this. And we are playing 3 Tanky. Honestly thought about cutting this card down or completely out, just because like one of the worst things this deck has is just drawing too many names or too many multiples, when I'd rather see other things like a Floodgate or maybe another Hand Trap or some other form of interruption. But we do want to get to Kaus because we want to do, you know, double, triple Pleiades. So, and then 1 Reinforcement of the Army because it searches Pollux and Lyrian. And then 1 Call by the Grave. Kind of a combo deck now. Ash and Droll, especially Droll really sucks for this deck. So that's why Call by the Grave's in there. And then 3, there can only be 1. So I'm playing 2 different Floodgates in this deck. There can only be 1 being one of them. The card's just really good as a whole. And if you open this card, you don't really want to go for multiple Pleiades because, you know, you don't have multiple warriors on the field. So you could do like a Pleiades Omega and an Infinity Ptolemaeus, which is okay. And then if at some point like I want to keep extending or this card is in my way, I can just play these effect to bounce back to hand. It's just really good. It's not hard to get rid of this card if I need to keep playing. And then 3 goes in match. I feel like this is the best Floodgate in the main deck. I think it's better than there can only be 1 because everything here is a light. All the main deck monsters, other than Ash, but all the main deck monsters I play are all light. All the extra deck, other than Abyss Dweller, is all light. So this card does not impede me whatsoever. And the reason I am playing the Floodgates in the main is because while this deck can be good, sometimes like 2 or 3 Pleiades or like 2 Pleiades and an Infinity isn't enough to stop the opponent. And playing Floodgates like this gives you the ability to better time your interruptions and simplify game state, which is something this deck does kind of need still. This is by no means like a tier 1 deck, but I feel like it can perform well and it can do a lot. And then going on to side, 3 Droll, because Droll is super good. 3 Dark Ruler and more. So this card's just insane in this deck because it doesn't matter like what board your opponent builds. You just ruler them, make a Pleiades, and bounce back the problem cards, or like just make Zeus. Like just make like a generic rank 4, and then you make Zeus out the board, and then you just make the other XYZs after that, which is just insane. So Dark Ruler no more is really good. 3 MST, this really realistically could be Cosmic, would be better as Cosmic. Could be Twin Twister, but I kind of like my hand advantage. Or if you really wanted to, you could play Constellar Knight Genesis, which is the quick play popper off of Lyrian, but then would only destroy one because the only Constellar name I play is Lyrian in the main deck. I guess you could count Diamond in there, and the new guy, and Ptolemaeus too. Oh, and Deltoros, so it'd be okay, but I feel like just Cosmic would be better. 3 evenly, because it's the best going second card in the game right now. And then 2 anti-spell. This card's just really good. Against like Super Heavy Samurai, purely. Castira can be really good. And if I need to play any spells, I just bounce back to my hand with Pleiades, play my spells, set it again. Or if I know my opponent's setting spells, and I don't need to use the Pleiades bounce on any monsters or anything, just bounce their spells back to hand. Really good. And on the extra deck, we're playing 3 Pleiades because we go through this card quite a bit. 1 Omega. And really, this is more or less in there for times where I know I'm playing first games like 2 or 3. I'm afraid my opponent's going to Dark Ruler no more me, just make the Omega, draw phase because it's a quick effect. Make it unaffected by, make all of my Constellars unaffected by spells and traps, and I don't got to worry about Ruler then. 1 M7 because you just rank over it to draw a card of Star Chart, or rank over to get more materials for Ptolemaeus or Pleiades. And also, like, if you really want to, just save it to use for recursion later on. 1 Diamond, just because like Sprite is kind of a thing. This card was way better in like tier element format when, you know, tier and Sprite were like the best decks, because this card really shines in a dark metagame, but we're not really there right now. So that's why only 1 of it. And then 2 of the new guy. This card is insane. Really, really good support. This is the continuous spell. So on summon, he grabs a Teller and or a Constellar card from your graveyard, adds it back to hand. So boom, XYZ summon, you get 2 cards back. Most of the time I only grab 1 because I don't play any Tellers other than Lyrian. But really good. And then detach, banish a card from deck for cost to gain that normal summon effect. So the reason that's important is because he can't be ashed. It's like Anaconda, where Anaconda would dump like Red Eyes Fusion for cost to copy the effect. Can't ash it, because his effect is to copy an effect. Same way with this. Banish Sheraton, they can't ash it, because I'm copying an effect. That's my effect on resolution I search. And then 2 Ptolemaeus. This card's insane. Honestly, haven't really tried too terribly much to try and do the turn skip with Ptolemaeus. Kind of, honestly, I forgot about that effect until like semi-recently. So, might play with that some, see if maybe I can do the turn skip. I think I probably can. I think this deck does have enough gas to do that. But it's just, I think that would be like super like high risk, high reward. It really just depends on hand composition and what kind of follow-up I would have. But just using Ptolemaeus to make like an Infinity or another Pleiades or a Diamond on the opponent's turn is really good. That's why I play 2 of it. And then Deltoros, not gonna lie, most time just use this to add as material under the Ptolemaeus. I don't play any other Tellers in the main deck other than Lyrian that would make popping him off himself to special 1 worth it. So just going into that combo line with this deck just isn't viable because you don't play any Constellar name or any other Teller Knight names. So in Constellar Knights, where you play pretty much like a heavier, pretty much a Teller Knight deck with just 1 or 2 Sheraton and then like 1 to 3 of this guy, it's worth it because you can summon Altair and then play the new one, special summons himself when Deltoros comes back, or special summons from deck. Really good, but not so much in this list. 1 Infinity for the Ptolemaeus. 1 Dweller, just because there are graveyard rogue decks. This card isn't as impactful in the metagame right now that tier isn't really a thing, but still good to have for like rogue. And then 1 Exciton Knight. I feel like this card is just being heavily slept on by any like rank 4 deck, because this and Zeus together is almost a double threat. Because like going second, opponent establishes a board, whether it's like combo or like a, you know, any sort of like control deck, back row deck. I can make multiple XYZs a turn. You just make the Exciton Knight, force them to answer it, and it's a quick effect. So like if they try to imperm it, or Veiler it, or whatever, you know what I mean, just quick effect. So, and then once they answer it, right, then you just make another rank 4, make the Zeus, and wipe the field. Really good. Underrated, in my opinion, to play both of these in the same list. That's just my opinion. But I like it quite a bit. And then the 1 Zeus for recursion. So that's it for the main deck. I know it's a little thick. It's 43 cards. And we'll go ahead and jump and do some hand tests here in a second with it. Kind of show you guys what the deck can do. The only thing I would probably change in the list from like testing and stuff is maybe cut Tanky down to like maybe like 1 to 2. Other than that, not a whole lot I would change. I really like the way it performs. Again, like the biggest issues of this deck is like nib. You were super susceptible to nib. Like, it sucks. Droll can really hurt depending on the hand. So Droll kind of sucks, especially when I'm trying to draw multiple cards off Star Chart. And then opening too many monsters and not getting any good interruption draws off a Star Chart can suck, because off Star Chart, like if you don't open any of the floodgates, you're wanting to try and draw them, or if you didn't open any hand traps, you're wanting to try and draw them just to have more layers of interruption outside of like 2 bounces and a negate. So, alright, so let's go ahead and get some hand tests. Alright, so we just jumped into Dueling Book, went into solo mode, and started the hand test here. So this hand's looking alright. So we're going to normal summon Polix, trigger this guy, special summon, and then effect on summon to search the new continuous spell. Alright, we're going overlay here, make the new guy, no effect on summon, we're going to go ahead and detach the Polix, banish the Sheraton, to add this guy to hand. And then we're going to special summon him. Use the effect to add Star Chart. Go ahead and activate the Star Chart. And we will activate this to special summon Polix. Then use this effect to... Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and make an M7 here to draw off Star Chart. We got a Kaus. Awesome. That was a good fucking draw. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and normal summon Kaus. Make these both level 5. Because we still have the additional somewhere off the Polix that I didn't use. Make a Pleiades here. Pleiades effect, detach. Add to hand. Activate this again. And then we'll use this to make a... So we can make another Pleiades here and draw a card. Which I think we will do. Draw a card of Star Chart. And then declare this. Normal summon. Overlay this into a Ptolemaeus. And we will set these cards. Use Pleiades as effect to add this back to hand for follow-up. And pass turn. So this is okay. I played this a little wrong, I think. Shouldn't do multiple Pleiades with there can only be one. That's okay, we got Gozen, so we'll use the there can only be one as last resort. But end phase, Ptolemaeus is going to detach a material, then make an Infinity, or another Pleiades if I want to, and then we've got Gozen, and there can only be one. So, that's okay. So, I felt like I played that a little wrong, might be able to do some things differently, but oh well. Alright. We can absolutely do nothing with this hand, which is okay. Alright. So, this one's okay. So, normal summon Polix, special summon this guy, declare the effect. And here we're going to search Star Chart. We're going to play the Star Chart. Overlay. Make this guy. Star Chart effect to draw. Activate the Tanky. So if we didn't have the Tanky, it'd be okay. Because we drew the Twinkle. So here, we're going to detach, banish the Sheraton to add the Lyrian to hand. The reason we're doing this is because I still have the additional normal summon of Pollux. So we will normal summon the Kaus, declare this guy, special summon defense, and then use the effect to get this, which is pretty good. So again, if this was just another monster, we could Twinkle, make him a level 5, then Twinkle effect, banish, add this back to hand, and then activate Twinkle, make Lyrian a level 5, and then make Pleiades here. So, and then here we can use Pleiades effect, detach, add Star Chart to hand, play the Star Chart, make an M7, draw a card, which was cool, and then now we can use Constellar Teller, summon our Kaus, use the effect, make Ptolemaeus here, and then here, could do an Infinity if we wanted to, or we can make another Pleiades. Really up to you. We've got Gozen, Ash, and Called by the Grave, which is like really, really good. So probably just set these two pass. I would probably make an Infinity here, just have a negate with the bounce and the Gozen. So this hand did all right. All right. So here, this hand's kind of decent. So we're going to go and activate the Rhoda. So we've already got Pollux, so we're going to search Lyrian. So now we will normal summon Pollux, use Lyrian, then use Lyrian's effect to search this. Activate Star Chart, overlay to make the new guy, draw a card. Alright, so we don't get anything back off him because we didn't have any materials. So we're going to detach. We're going to banish the Sheraton. So we don't have any other names in hand. We have the Teller Knight, Constellar Teller Knights. So we could add Caduceus here to get Twinkle if we wanted to. Or we could add Zombre here to potentially keep playing. So I think honestly, let's do this one. So a special summon here. Use the effect. We'll search Twinkle. So if we'd gotten Zombre, we can normal summon the Zombre here. Play the Constellar Teller Knights. Special summon a Lyrian. And then make a Pleiades, but I don't feel like that's as good. Alright, so here, so this has to banish a Constellar card from my monster from the graveyard. Okay. So activate to special summon. And then now we'll go ahead and use this to make a Pleiades here. Detach to bounce to add Star Chart back to hand. Play Star Chart. Twinkle, make it a level 5. Banish, add back to hand, play, make a level 5. Overlay these two. Make a Pleiades. And draw a card. Which is okay. So we would set the Gozen match, set the Imperm, double Pleiades with the Gozen, an Ash, and Imperm. Pass is pretty decent, I feel like. Honestly, before I would pass turn, probably add this back to hand, follow up for the next one. Or if we did the Zombre, I think we could have gone much further with the Zombre, which is okay. But yeah, this did okay. I don't know if I said last one last time, but we're going to do one more now. Okay, this hand, not going to lie, a little weak. Because opening multiples of something kind of sucks. But Tinky gets us to a name. which is good. So here we normal summon Alkidi, effect special. Overlay these two to make the new guy. No effect on summon, but we will detach and then banish the Sheraton, wherever it is, to add him to hand. And then we will special this guy to add this. Play. Special the Kaus. 5/5. Take a Pleiades. Then here we could put an M7 on top of it. I honestly don't see the point. I would rather just use this, make the Pleiades here, and then set 2 and pass, and then use a Pleiades effect to add this back to hand to keep playing the next turn. Because we have another tanky search. So this is okay. Not too bad. So that does it for kind of like the hand tests and combos and stuff. Let me know what you guys think down below of this Constellar deck profile. Let me know what some things you would change. Like I said, this list is still kind of like in the making, so definitely open for criticism. But just let me know down below what you guys think. Later, YouTube.